Thank you, DLC. And Yuvraj, thank you so much for your really inspiring story. I want to start off by telling you, so I was a bright kid. I just finished my IB diploma examinations. I'd done well better than my predicted grade. So I had got into and was going to my dream colleges, right? Graduated from school, had the summer ahead of me, and I thought, why not now do something I actually love? I don't know why we don't think about that when we're in school and thinking about college. But I thought, okay, I'm going to get my hands dirty and take up an internship in film production. So I managed to get an internship with a really genius, brilliant mastermind of a writer, director, producer. And I spent that entire summer working with him. So went in every day, absolutely loving what I was doing. You know, when you go into that office or that space and you're actually doing what you love doing, not everyone feels it, okay? So I spent 3 months going in every day and just meeting amazing people, like really creative writers, composers, directors, and just working with them every day and realizing I love this. I love what I'm doing. And summer was coming closer to an end. It was few weeks away from me finally taking that flight and going to my dream college. And very soon, Mum starting to get the packing list together, buy the Indian snacks, you know, the goodbye start. And very soon, it's a few days to me heading out to take that flight. And that's when I'm sitting opposite this really inspiring, amazing person I've been working with. And he looks at me and he's like, so I guess you're staying on, right? You're doing this project with me. Every film takes about 2 years, can go up to 7 years. And he's like, let's do this project. Like, you've been a big part of it. I want you to stay on. I don't want you to go away. I want you to commit and make this, you know, work this out with us. So, of course, in that moment, you know, when you're right in front of someone influential, inspiring, you sort of lose your voice a bit. And I just said, yes, I'm staying on. I'm going to be a part of this project. I'm not going to university. Went back home, went up to my parents and told them I'm not taking the flight tomorrow. They both looked at me, and don't get me wrong, they're like progressive, amazing people who just said, no, like you've worked, you know, throughout school, you've been dreaming of going to this college, you should head off tomorrow. And that's where they brought my grand uncle into the picture. He's been a big part of my parenting. He sat down with me, we reasoned, we understood. I was so passionate, so emotional. I was like, no, I want to stay back. I want to work in Mumbai with this big, you know, director on this big project. And then we finally came to a decision. Obviously, you want to know what the decision was. The decision was the fact that I took the flight and I went to college. But I'm just going to stop that there and tell you a little bit about this grand uncle. So this grand uncle saw me take my school bus every morning. He also, I mean, my parents were hoping for this result, but saw me take that flight to college. He was a huge part of my growing up. He also helped with all my main decision making. And unfortunately, we actually lost him very recently. And given the fact that it was lockdown, we didn't get enough time to spend with him. I had so many more questions to ask him, decisions to make with him, and it just all hit me. It made me realize how lockdown really distanced us. It really didn't give me the time I wanted to spend with the people, or just sort of didn't let me get in touch with people as much or spend enough time with people. But lockdown was a really unique time for all of us, right? I think we all experienced it so differently. Some privileged, some not so much. Some grew, some felt a lot of isolation, loneliness. But it also brought such a unique change to our lives. I think we all moved online in a way we never thought we would. We spent every day looking at these little boxes, speaking to people all across the world, thinking, would we ever come to this? And I actually saw something that brought a huge smile on my face. So on a lighter note, I do want to show you all a quick video, and then we'll get back to it.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to take
we're trying to, can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
So that was just a really short video. And that now leads me to less of the storytelling and more of what I want to talk to you about. So I want to talk to you about impactful storytelling. What we experienced there were 3 short stories. One was about a decision-making process in my life. The second was about my granduncle, and that was just a different medium of storytelling that brought a laugh to all your faces. And looking at our first story, so what do stories do? Stories lead you to emotionally invest in what you're listening to. The first story, where I told you about a decision-making process, resulted in higher levels of dopamine within every one of you. So what you saw there was a little bit of focus. You also saw a little bit of creativity, where maybe you guys imagined my summer with this mastermind, me speaking to my uncle and parents, me getting onto that flight, and lastly, it led to a little bit of like motivation and just feeling good. Moving on to the second bit, where I spoke to you a little bit about my granduncle. This was where we experienced a little bit of oxytocin. This was where we felt a little bit more relaxed, a little bit of trusting, and there was a level of bonding among us, right? Because you open up, you create a more human feeling. You also create some level of empathy. And lastly, the last video you saw just made you laugh. These were 3 very short, in a very short span of time, stories told to you that affected you or impacted you in different ways. And this is exactly what we do with, be it our podcasts, be it songs, films, or just stories we tell one another. And as a creative producer, someone who creates content, I meet writers, directors, producers every day. People come in and pitch their stories to me every day. So every single day, every hour of the day, I'm constantly feeling different emotions, different ways of being inspired, influenced by different people's stories and lives. That's my life. It's lots of fun, but what it also makes me realize that every one of us are a storyteller. It's not that you can't tell a story. Every one of us have our very own stories that we can tell. And these stories can definitely impact and affect your target audience in the way you want to, if you know what the right story is to tell. Thank you so much.